something that I've struggled with. It's opening up. It's been ever since I was a little kid. I would never be able to tell my parents when I was in trouble. If something happened at school, I could never get myself to tell anybody. I think it was just like the fear of having somebody worry about me, or I don't know, I didn't want to feel like a burden to my parents, whatever the case. So trying to make this video has been a little difficult just because this is my third attempt to do it. But the reality is right now it's something that I experience every year, and it's like end of the year burnout. And it's a weird type of burnout because I've been getting plenty of sleep. If anything, this is the healthiest I felt in a long time. I'm eating plenty of protein. My nutrition is like spot on perfect. Well, not perfect, but like, you know what I mean. In terms of like stress, I've been doing really well in terms of like managing that. I go on walks every day. So it's not like I am burnt out physically, but I am burnt out in the sense of like, I have no creativity right now. For the last like 5 months since July, I've been able to script out 1 to 2 videos for YouTube. I've been able to just find content ideas, but right now I'm in a rut, and I thought I just wasn't going to post anything for this week. But then I realized I'm sure somebody out there, whether it's not in the same sense as me, I know there's some end of the year burnout, and I think there's just probably so much content right now just talking about highlighting everybody's like accomplishments. Maybe you've seen the videos that are popping up on my feed where it's like this time last year and it shows them not doing well, but now this year they are doing amazing. And while it is supposed to be inspirational, if you're not in that headspace, or if you're not ready to want to do better just yet, you're going to be looking at it as if like it's just tearing you down a little bit more. So I thought we would just make a video about all the failures that I've had this year, things that I am struggling with. Hopefully it could just be kind of relatable, what I plan to do to navigate through this end of the year burnout. And my hope with this video is that we could just normalize taking a breather and just knowing when you need to reset, even if you're not physically burnt out. So let's just talk about all my failures. Okay, so starting from January, when I was laid off. I know I've talked about it in previous videos as if it was like the best thing that happened to me, and I still 100% agree that it is the case. I think it was the best thing because I knew in my heart and in my mind that I was never going to leave that job. I knew that I had bigger dreams to chase, and I know everybody just says like take the leap, just take a leap of faith and quit your 9 to 5 and go full force in your business. And while it sounded inspirational at the time, when I would think about the logistics of it, it's like, okay, but that meant no more income. That means health insurance. That means like all these things, right? And I knew it was meant to happen because all my worries were pretty much taken care of. When it came to health insurance, I could just go on to my partner's health insurance. I didn't know it at the time, but I was able to do that. And when it came to the bills, I didn't have to worry too much because I was smart and I made sure to save money. I made sure to save up at least 6 months of a rainy day fund. On top of that, I was getting unemployment, and I knew worst case, my partner was there to support me. However, still getting laid off, I knew it was going to happen. I knew I'd be one of the first people that they would boot. And that's only because I never went above and beyond for that company, because I knew that the more work that you could show them that you could handle, the more work they would try to push on you. While it's like cool to put on paper for like my skills and experience, it just got to the point that it was ruining my mental health, and I got so sick and tired of trying to do that. I learned the hard way through my friends at that company that the more work that you were given, the reward was more work. And it made me feel like the work I was already doing wasn't enough. It wasn't recognized. So like a part of me did feel like it was kind of like I was failing this company. And it's one of those things where it's like logic versus emotions, right? Like logically, I knew I was doing just fine as an employee. I did exactly everything in my job description. Could I have done a little bit better? Yes, I think in every aspect, you can always reflect how you could have done better. But it was also just the fact of like my boundaries weren't being respected. I was constantly being tested by immature coworkers. So I knew in the long run that this was the best decision for me, but there was still that worry of like, damn, I did all this hard work and for what? So it kind of contributed to this self-esteem of like, hard work is supposed to take you places, right? But in this company, that wasn't the case. So that was the first failure from that year. So then one of the first things that I did in my business was I got caught up in the shiny object syndrome. And I believed all these creators who were like, make an online course, passive income, all that stuff, right? I learned very quickly that none of it is passive income. There is no such thing as passive income. I found that I was working more to advertise and market that course than to actually give attention to my one-on-one clients. But the idea is that like, oh, you should just get sales coming in while you just sit on your phone. Like, no, you still got to market. You still got to do the research because you're not getting client wins and testimonials right away. You have to do really hard with the market research to advertise that course. So as a result, not a single person bought my online course. And I did so much work behind the scenes. I did so much market research. I tried to make pretty little graphics. I have a whole, like, I can't show you, but I have a whole like Google document of just things I would write out to advertise on my stories. I even paid for, ads. I tried to boost the content on Instagram. I did everything, right? And not a single person bought. And so as a follow-up, I did like a little survey with those people who were at least on the wait list, because I think I had like 20 people who were, I don't know how interested, but that was the whole point of having a wait list. And I did like a survey, and the 2 people who answered, thank you to those people. I even gave them like a tiny reward because I was really appreciative of it. They basically told me that like the idea of it sounds good, but they just needed the one-on-one accountability. And that's not something you can get from a course. Looking back, it's like, yeah, for fitness related, I don't think a course would have like made a difference, but if I did it with nutrition, it could have been better. But at the same time, it's like, that is what I do as a coach. That is the whole reason why I came into one-on-one coaching, because everybody's struggles are different. Everyone knows that nutrition is like the number one problem, but there's so many like little tiny, I think, outliers that were contributing to that. You had some people who thought they knew what they needed to do, but it wasn't it. And they won't know that until they have a coach. You have some people who just need to be validated as to how much they need to be eating. So once I got rid of the whole passive income and I learned that it was just a big fraud, I went back to one-on-one and marketing that. And lo and behold, I actually had people who were interested and bought from me. So it just kind of showed that maybe in my niche, it wasn't possible. And I know there's going to be like marketers who are going to disagree and be like, you just didn't have a specific solution to solve. And it's like, maybe you're right, but it's also my philosophy that I want to help women one-on-one to make sure that if they are buying a service or product from me, it changes their life. Because if it doesn't, then I didn't do my part as a coach. But it was still like that failure feeling of like, not a single person bought. I did all this work. I spent 3 months on it. I even paid $6,000 for some marketers to like help me learn how to market my services correctly. And it was, needless to say, it wasn't my worst failure, but it was one of those contributing feelings of like, wow, I am 3 months into this whole unemployment, even though I'm not technically unemployed, I'm self-employed, but I'm still calling it unemployed, and I didn't make any money. Let's talk comparison now. I'm not just talking comparison in terms of like, oh, they have a better body than me, or they, like physical appearance wise. I just mean where everybody is in life. I haven't traveled or gone on vacation, a proper vacation, in about 2 years. Like, I've been to some music festivals with some friends, but I still don't consider that like a vacation. But right now I am seeing all of my friends post on their stories, post YouTube videos, all the stuff about them traveling, travel vlogs. I'm not gonna lie, like I genuinely missed it, but I also recognize that I'm in a season of trying to save money. Could I just blow off my entire savings and go do that? Heck yeah. And most people would even try to argue that's what I should be doing because I'm young, you only live once, blah, blah, blah. I'm well aware of that. But I'm also aware that certain goals require certain sacrifices. So while I'm seeing everybody travel and do like all these incredible fun things, I'm still sitting at home either on my laptop or my computer editing videos because the dream is to, be like a content creator. The dream is to do the things that I love and get paid for it. And it's gonna take time before I actually get there. Not to mention, like, everybody my age is having babies right now and starting families. So then it makes me feel like it makes me feel like I'm getting behind in life. But at the same time, it's like the only person who can create this timeline for you is yourself. So the fact that I feel behind, it's because I'm trying to follow somebody else's timeline. And that could stem from anything. It could stem from my family's pressure. It could stem from societal pressures. And I think for me, it's a mix of both. Because if you were to ask the 16-year-old me, she would say that, I plan to be married by 25, have my first kid by 28, and here I am at 29. And still none of that has happened. And it's easy to think that you're getting behind or you're not where you're supposed to be. But I have learned, in many different lessons, in many ways, that whatever you were redirected from, if that was originally your goal, you were probably being protected by something. I can't think of any specific experiences for me right now. I think the quote goes, for every rejection is redirection. And while I don't think in this case it's necessarily being rejected, it's still redirection. And what you thought was good for you probably isn't. And that is universe, the God, whatever you believe in is trying to protect you from. But I won't lie, seeing a lot of entrepreneurs and other coaches in my same niche that are making crazy amount of money and, taking the whole year off to travel because they already made so much money this year. It's only seeing the highlights, because if I were to go back, dig deep way into their content, I'm probably going to find them talking about or sharing how something didn't go right, or maybe a loved one in the family died, so they couldn't focus for half the year. And so it put them back a couple years. We never actually see what is happening behind the scenes. And that could go for everybody. Recently, kind of unrelated, but related. Apparently it was huge on TikTok, where there was a creator who, I won't say her name, I'm pretty sure some of you already know, but basically there was an influencer who made her content trying to look like she had a rich, luxurious life and had so much stuff. And it ended up being that she was caught stealing $500 worth of stuff from Target. And it's all the more proof that no one is really doing as good as you think they are, or how they're portraying themselves on social media really isn't the big picture. But it's so easy to get caught up in that because you don't see that. You just see them posting consistently a new video, especially if they're on TikTok Shop or they're an Amazon affiliate. It's so easy to think that wow, they keep buying new clothes every day, or they always have new content with new stuff. And it's they could be at the minimum amount in their bank account. They could be just barely getting by. Maybe in order to afford certain clothing, they have to sacrifice less groceries for the week, so they're not eating as much. There's so much behind the stuff that we don't know, but it's so easy to get caught up and compare that. Another thing that I feel is contributing to this burnout is just the whole sale season right now. We just finished Black Friday, but there's going to be Christmas sales. There's going to be Thanksgiving sales. There's going to be Cyber Monday coming. By the time you see this video, it's all going to have passed maybe. I'm constantly seeing ads. My inbox is flooded with all of these sales, last chance, urgency, all this stuff. It just makes me feel overwhelmed because it feels like all this noise, right? And while I know I had Black Friday sales, the thing with me, I don't know about anybody else, but me just always wanting to be prepared, I did all of my Black Friday planning last month because I just wanted the week or the weekend of Black Friday to just have everything sent out. My content was done. What I wanted to say in my stories was done. The products that I had were done. So it was just a matter of just scheduling it out. So I'd already done the work. So for me, it didn't feel as overwhelming. This took me months as an entrepreneur to learn how to do that. It wasn't overnight, by the way. I actually learned how to do this when I did my launch for my online course, and I did everything the day of, and that contributed to both mental and physical burnout. That is besides the point. So for me, when it came to, pushing my services and really trying to get as many women to sign up for my one-on-one, it wasn't overwhelming for me, but I can imagine for other people who are trying to avoid social media right now. And I've also heard that engagement rates have been low as well. And it's just because of the fact that no one wants to be scrolling on their phone and seeing people be it is 20% off right now on TikTok Shop. Right now it's 50% off, but only for tonight. Biggest contributor is, so one of my favorite gym brands is Honor Active. and they were doing a Black Friday sale. It ended up being pretty good compared to last year. Their sale was really good. So obviously I bought a ton. Literally on the day of Black Friday, which is when they should have done it, they did an additional 10% off. So that meant a lot of their stuff was basically 50% off. So I remember just having like all these people just be like, oh my God, look how much I bought. Look at my haul. And it's like creating this like FOMO urgency. And once it's over, you just kind of realize that like, wow, all that hype for what? This little like $10 shirt. And it's just, I feel like that's also contributing to it. And anytime I got emails, haven't shopped for them for years, I was getting all their emails. So just imagine like, because I don't check my emails right away when I wake up in the morning because that gives me anxiety. So I wait till I've had like a breakfast, I had coffee, worked out, whatever. And then I've properly checked my emails. Literally every single email was like, last chance, 50% off, get it before it's gone. And I don't know why, but I feel like mentally that was messing with me because it's like, I need to be in a hurry. I'm in a constant state of like fight or flight mode because it's like things are about to be over, things are about to expire. And I know that sounds so dumb, but because that's what my mind was exposed to for that little bit, it was like, I need to feel like I'm in this hurry. And how I know is, I guess you could say I got the Aura ring for technically Black Friday, even though I ended up buying the Gen 4, which was not on sale, but I really wanted rose gold. Influence to buy it. But the part of the influence because of Black Friday, because they were putting their Gen 3 on sale and it was pretty affordable. And I almost bought that one. But then after doing like research, I was like, no, Gen 4 is way better. So I already spent $1,000, on a ring. But one of the things that has been good about this ring is that it lets me know my stress levels. It lets me know when I'm doing too much. And I noticed during the days leading up to Black Friday and then on the day of Black Friday, I was rarely ever relaxed, or there's also a mode called engaged where it's like you're not necessarily stressed. You're doing like some productive type of work. But for me, like the stress, like I can actually show you. Like there is a graph that it shows you, and the top ones at the very top, like those top dots, they're basically telling me that this is when you've been stressed. And you can see multiple dots up there. So that let me know that I was stressed, and it was like, for what? And then on top of that, I was starting to feel like I'm letting my goals get behind because I couldn't create a YouTube video. Now I do have a gym vlog that's just been sitting in my drafts, and I always told myself that like if I have no other content to post, I can always use that gym vlog. But there I was sitting on my computer trying to edit it, and nothing felt exciting about it. Like it's a pretty good gym vlog. Like the video was fine, angles were fine, there wasn't anybody really in the background, so that was an issue. I didn't have to worry about trying to blur anybody out, but it was just the fact that like I have no creativity. I was like, okay, maybe let's try like a short form video. Like I have a lot of edited videos that are like less than a minute and a half that I can post. I tried to edit it and I was just sitting there like, I'm not tired, but it's just like, I can't do this. So then that led me to think like, well, how am I supposed to create now a weekly YouTube that I always do? And I've been so good and consistent about since July. And one of the things that people say is people will always start things and they don't finish it. So I always had that internal fear of like, I don't want to start something and not finish it. So then those thoughts sort of started flooding into my mind. But then I just kind of realized that like, I think it's normal to have these ruts. It is normal to not have to do everything that you said that you were going to do. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to reset. And how I plan to reset is just catching up and doing the things that I enjoy doing. One of the things that I haven't done in a while is go to a coffee shop and just sit on my computer and do some work, or read a book. I haven't read a book in the last 3 weeks, and I think that that's also what could be contributing to it. I haven't gone to a Barnes and Noble and just browsed around, looking for a new book. There are so many things that I have neglected doing probably for the last 3 weeks. And I think that's what's contributing to this creativity rut when it comes to like the podcast. Like I listen to 3 or 4 podcasts like on rotation. And honestly, I'm getting bored of them. One of them, she always talks about like the same thing. Another one is about like business and entrepreneurship. And it just got to a point where it's like, wow, I'm so bored. Like what they're saying is still valuable and it's still great information, but it's just like, I'm not absorbing it anymore. And I think that's another sign to show that you are getting burnt out, you're in a rut. And while everybody is like, there's 4 weeks left in the year, what What are some other things I've seen? And I know personally as like a fitness coach, I've even posted it as well, where it's like, we have this many days left in the year, make the most of it. And if you're at a point where it just feels too much, overwhelming, yeah, it's okay to take a break. Finishing the year strong doesn't have to be pushing yourself to the point of, saying that you were going to do what you said you were going to do. It could just be taking a break. Let the chaos kind of settle in. I know for some people, especially the holidays, is just chaos and it's very overwhelming, especially with like the pressure of needing to find Christmas gifts for everybody. Maybe just being around your family isn't good for your mental health. Maybe you're working on setting more boundaries. And the thing with boundaries is that it's like one of those things where like, you have to do it, but you're going to get some backlash and somebody might be unhappy with you. Like there's probably so many things that you have to do that are already uncomfortable. But if you're at that point where it's just beginning to feel too much, I hope you can take this video as your sign to step back, take a break. And if you're in a rut, if you're feeling burned out, if you're like me where you just got no creativity happening, you just don't feel like yourself, it's okay and it's normal. Do what you have to do to feel better. Maybe call up a friend that you haven't talked to in a while, or maybe a family member who you adore. Just give yourself permission to reset and just maybe relax for the end of the year. And if this was something you needed to hear, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you already haven't, and I will see you in the next video.